free education is definitely a blessing, like for
Mhm.
sure. But like what comes with that free education, like that is not free.
On this week's episode, we have Kayla Jackson here. She is a basketball player from FAMU, Florida A&M. We got our back-to-back gangbusters coming in with the HBCUs. Thanks so much for being here with us, Kyla.
Thanks for having me.
You took a ways before you got down there to FAMU. Would you like to tell us a little bit about how you started out in Charleston and then all the places how you got to FAMU?
I got recruited by Charleston Southern my senior year of high school, and I ended up committing and signing there. And after a year, I left. And this was before the transfer portal allowed you to transfer to another D1 school and not have to sit out a year. So at that point, I decided that it was best if I went to a JUCO so I could at least play, get some film, and like try to, just play. I transferred to Pensacola State under Coach Belfer, and I played there for a year. And then I ended up at FAMU. It's crazy because my senior year of college, I actually was about to go to FAMU. My senior year of high school, I'm sorry, I was about to go to FAMU. So it's crazy how like I ended up back at FAMU. So I thought that was cool. But yeah, I transferred a total of two times. Charleston Southern Pensacola to FAMU. So about three times. So three schools in 4 years, three different coaches, three different environments. So it was very interesting and kind of forced me to deal with like adverse situations and different people, different cultures. So it was definitely an experience.
Like you don't have to say why you like transferred or anything if you don't want to, but what would you say was like the biggest thing that like you didn't necessarily see when you first decided to sign to Charleston Southern that really made you like, okay, I think it's time for something different.
I think what they don't tell you when you first go to college is that it's like a completely different environment. You're around what 12, 13 other girls that are mm, I guess just as good as you, come from being the star at their high school. And I feel like for me, it was kind of more like I think I adapted well, but at the same time, I feel like I would tell any high school senior this, when you are going to the next level to play a sport, you have to really make sure that you are in a pay attention to like everything, like every aspect, like how would in this situation would you be okay if you didn't play? In this situation, would you be okay if like weigh out all the pros and cons before just making a decision? I was probably in the worst mental state of my life, and yeah,
I
it was.
mean, I mean it's hard. Like it's hard in general, like going from one phase of life to the other. And then you put the fact that now you're basically like a full-time student and a full-time athlete on top of it. Like that's a lot to deal with for anyone.
I'm that was a very hard year for me just from a mental standpoint because like I never had a problem with working hard. I never had a problem with any of that. But like as far as like the kind of stuff I went through there, it was like I've never experienced that, like where I'm getting not picked on, but like it was just very hard, especially coming straight out of high school.
Yeah, because you're like kind of used to being in that, like if something does go wrong, you have your family and you have like your friends you've known your whole entire
Exactly.
life.
Being 5 hours from home, that was also like I'm far. But I have a great village, so they would come to games. My freshman year, I probably played in a total of 15 minutes in the whole season. But my family would be up there like almost every other month, every game they could come to, they would come. So I have a great village, so the support was always there. I never felt alone. It was just hard being up there and the kind of stuff I was going through, and like it's hard being a freshman in college.
Yeah, it's girl, like been there, done that. Like it's already
You know how people gain in freshman 15? I had lost at least 20 pounds.
wow.
Lost. So I was around there. I went home for Christmas. When you go home and your family be like, they was They was going in on me. I was very tiny. I was a definitely a learning experience, definitely a hard year.
I do have to say, like that has to be hard to come through, and then the fact that you're able to sit here and talk about it again, that's an experience you can share with maybe someone else who may be going through it or not. And because college is a mess in general, and stacked a lot of things on your plate, and you were able to find your way out. And I feel like that's a good thing that you're able to tell your story and things like that, especially since people are going through who knows what, and especially like athletes. I feel like people forget that an athlete is a person when they step off the court, and like y'all go through the same struggles that everyone else goes through, especially. And so the fact that you can say like college is hard, like yeah, that it's hard just on the base level, and then you're being stacked upon more things that the average student doesn't have to. And I feel like that's where people get kind of lost and confused, and they say like, oh, athletes get to go to college for free, and y'all get to do.
It's free. They control everything. Free time, downtime, everything. Nothing is free.
I mean, nothing's free in this world in general. So,
Exactly. So
so
that
the
always get me when people be like, "Oh, you." I mean, a free education is definitely a blessing, like for
Mhm.
sure. But like, what comes with that free education, like that is not free.
It's a lot to handle. Like, yeah, y'all like may get like you get to register early, or you get to have like
It's
snacks
the
and things.
the gear, you know, people feeding you out. It's some pros, but then it's just like it's a lot of cons too. But
I feel like everyone forgets like they always think the grass is greener. Like the grass is greener. Oh, if I was able to do this, I could do that in life in general, but especially when it comes to sports. And that's what one thing that I really created her sports convo too, was like to one make sports like accessible to more people, and to like get away with this code that you need to do like every analytic in the world to understand and be a part of it, but also like share that they're not so different. Like me and you are not so different at anything.
probably more the same than like the average eye would see.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like same problems, same college problems, same.
Like everybody don't want to write that test, everybody don't want to do their homework.
Exactly. And it's definitely different being a woman and then being a man. Like nobody lining up to do our homework. Nobody doing that. So like it's definitely the same.
No girl like knocking on your door and like, oh yeah, Jason, I'll write your test for
Exactly.
you.
It's none of that.
But when you got to FAMU, like how was that experience? Because you already said you started there and then you kind of worked your way back in some kind of like full circle moment. So how was, you know, what made you be like, okay, yeah, I gotta go to FAMU?
So when I was at Pensacola State, I was about to be done. Like I was like, I'm done. Like I'm tired. I'm about to go to school. I'm just done playing basketball. But at the time, me and the head coach at the time, Coach Kevin Lynham, we were talking and communicating about it, and he was like, "You want to come here?" Like we talked about it. I was like, "Yeah, of course I want to come. Like it's 2 hours away from home, HBC. Like of course I want to come. Why not?" So we got that in the works, and I was like, I had told my JUCO coach, I was like, "You don't even got to worry about talking to no coaches for me. I'm done. Like this is it for me." But I had talked to Coach Kevin Lynham, and I was just like, I can give it. I'm I'm not ready to be done. You know, on the inside, I'm not ready to be done. But on the outside, because it's been so hard for me, I'm ready to be done. But on the inside, I know I'm not done. So I was so happy to have the opportunity to go there. And I had a lot of family and friends that had went there, so I kind of was familiar with like the culture and like how important the HBCU was and like the gravity it held. So I was really sold and I was excited. It was definitely different from going to so my first year of college I went to a Baptist college and then I went to JUCO. So it was definitely different going to HBCU and like
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Like the fact that Charleston Southern is like a Baptist, very like Christian home place.
yeah,
How like obviously you said your experience was like tough, But I feel like some people like forget that colleges do fall under sectors like that. Like, you got your Liberties, your Notre Dames, like the privates. And like I know you can only speak for yourself, but are those like big things you think about when you're deciding to choose a college?
At the time, no, because like when you want to do something, you like, I'm going where I can go, like whatever it takes. But I think now that I'm a little older, I would take everything in consideration, the stuff I might have overlooked when I was 18, 17 years old.
Oh yeah, I mean, because I've always wondered that because I'd be like, sometimes you're like watching something and you're like, are all these people on this team really Catholic, or are we just like, are all we just like going to communion just because we have to go to communion? You know what I mean? Or
Yeah,
like when people like move from like New York and they go to BYU and they play football there, and I'm like, are you really practicing the Mormonism or?
exactly, literally. But yeah, we would have to go to chapel every Wednesday, and we had to take like a lot of New Testament, Old Testament classes. It was actually interesting because I am a Christian, so it was like I was learning a lot of stuff. So that was a cool aspect of it for me personally. I didn't have a problem with it, but chapel did was a strain sometimes when you didn't had 6 a.m. practice and then weights and then two classes and then you got to go sit in chapel for 2 hours because you got to go. So it was definitely different.
What were the things you realized when you got to FAMU that you were not necessarily missing out on because you were like a junior, almost a senior when you got to FAMU. So did you ever feel like, oh, like God, I wish I like figured it out faster? And because you kind of missed like almost 2 years of your college experience.
Yeah, I would sometimes think like that because coming into any college as a junior is hard, like trying to find your way and like making friends and like doing that whole thing. But it was really easy when I got to FAMU. Like I instantly like it was very easy. Besides the pandemic happening in my first spring semester there, it was like I've been there. Like it was an easy adaptation. So
I did a little internet snooping on you, gal. And I found this like questionnaire you did when you were graduating high school.
the
And
AWS.
And I was like, "Oh my goodness, does she remember this? Do you remember the answers you gave?"
Oh my gosh. See, I'm the type of person I'll say some stuff that's not even like
True.
on the spot. I'll be like, yeah. But then I'll look back and be like, you never like I think I said, for example, in that interview, I said my perfect day is waking up at 11. I can never wake up and get out of the bed at 11 a day in my life. So I don't know why I thought that was something to say. I don't know why I thought that was something to say, but I said that. I said, you know what? I think I'm living in a simulation. I'm a movie character. But yeah, that was with Larry.
Mhm. Yeah, one of your first questions was, "What is your happiest day like ever in your life?" And you said winning states in 7th grade. So is that still accurate or it's changed?
No, but that was a very rewarding day. And I wouldn't even call it the happiest day of my life. That was probably the most rewarding day. One of the most rewarding days of my life because graduating college kind of upped the ante there.
You said your most interesting thing you do aside from playing basketball was that you read and write poetry. Do you still do that?
So it's crazy because I used to like you can ask any of my I used to be in a book, like in the locker room. I'm in my cubby, I'm locked in. On the bus, I'm locked in, like I'm reading. But I feel like once you get older, people don't tell you how hard it is to maintain your hobbies. Like once real responsibility kicks in
Mhm.
and you're not taking those prereqs no more, you in your major and you taking them hard classes and you got a lot of homework due by 12. I definitely fell off, but over the last summer during the pandemic, summer 2020, I actually started reading a lot again. And I write, I'm the type of writer like I write when I feel. So it started being less pen and paper and more in my notes. Like, I'm gonna let this out. I got some to say. Like it was more like that. So I kind of fell off and I felt like getting lost in a book was what kept me kind of grounded. and that's why this last year been so like
Mm-hmm.
hard for me. But yeah, I I haven't read a book since last summer, 2020. So I cannot say that I still read and write poetry, but I do write when I feel in my notes. And I do, if this counts, I have at least 10 books that I want to read before December.
I
So,
mean, that's better than most. I mean, that's better than me. You
and
said
that's
you
my
read a book last summer. Who knows when the last time I read a book for fun?
key. And it's just like, remember when reading was like recreational? And now it's
Well, I
like,
never liked reading,
oh,
so you can't put me in that category. Like I don't fit in that category with those people.
but
So
dang, everybody is. But
but I do understand what you mean, like when you get in your major or when you get busier, you like stop doing your hobbies. Cause like I love word searches. Like I am like the grandma. I have like my word search book, watching TV, checking through it. And the other day I was like, how have I not finished this word search yet? And then I looked back at the beginning and I've been like working on it for like 7 months. And like back in the day, I
who
would
am
like finish
I?
I would finish these things, and I mean they're like full thick like textbook things. I would go through them in like a month max. And so the fact that it's taking me 7 months, I was like, we got to get it together, sis.
Like, what's going on? Who am I? I swear. It's like growing up is so like hard, and it's just like sometimes you feel the things that you used to like to do as a chore. Like, like that's not fun.
Mm-hmm.
Or having to use my pencil after I done sat in a class all day. I'm not doing a word search. Like I'm not reading a book after I just had to read about tax invasion and like I just can't. So
Maybe that let's everyone that's our goal this summer. We're gonna go back and we're gonna do our find one hobby you did when you were younger, pre-high or during high school, and go try it out and see if you still like it.
facts. That's a good goal. Like just revisiting.
And especially because we're like coming to the other side of the craziness that was 2020, and you're gonna, because I feel like a lot of people are gonna feel pressure to like go out and just go out every single time they have the opportunity. And then so make sure you try to find your hobby, so then
Mhm.
like you don't, I'm glad we can go out again, but you don't have to necessarily go out every day now because you can't go out every day.
Hobbies are so good for mental health. Like find what you and especially like you said, go back to that pre-high school hobby when things were simple. Like what did you enjoy doing? So I'm definitely gonna do that.
Because I know the toughest question on like the first day of class. They're like, "What's your name? Where you're from? And name a hobby." Like, and everyone's sitting there
Well, what's
like,
your favorite thing to do? I'm just sitting there like, what do you
"Uh, like,
like?
what do you mean?" And then everyone's like, "I like to eat. I like to nap."
Yes.
And then you're like in your head, you're like, "This isn't a hobby. This is like a need. Like, you need to be sleeping. You
Sad.
need to be
But
eating."
exactly. That's sad. Exactly.
But one of the interesting things I felt from this thing was that you were a yearbookie in high
I was.
school.
I
And
was.
girl, I was like, "Oh my god, a fellow yearbookie, we're here for it." I am I am here for this, girl.
Yes, I was a yearbookie. That was I loved working on I don't know, it's just that sense of like
More than yourself.
document what's going on. Like it's just so fun. I enjoyed yearbook so much. Our yearbook teacher was Mr. Holt. He was great. Like he allowed us to have like complete creative control. And I was in there with a lot of my friends. So it was really fun. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I don't know how like y'all yearbook went, but ours was like very chill and relaxed,
Mhm.
and like it was
The
just
deadlines.
exactly okay. Good
We was
thing to know
good.
we were not the only people.
No, we were good for missing the deadline.
Because I
But
was like, because it would be like sometimes we would sit back and we were like, how is this book finished? Like, how did we get this out?
literally. Did
Because
I say something about the yearbook in the A to Z?
you said that was like your favorite class
Okay, yeah,
or
I
something
love
like that.
yearbook.
Oh
I
yeah,
love taking the pictures. I loved it. I love working on the yearbook. It
because
was
it's
very
like it's like you're part of like history, even though you're gonna go on and you're gonna live your life. Like you have something to leave behind.
and I was in that year, but you would think I did it on purpose. I I was in that thing throughout the yearbook. But yeah, that was definitely
Because I think that was one of the best things about art class, because it was like a class. It wasn't like a club. So like this was actually part of your like mandatory 3 credit
great.
hours you need to get. And like, oh, I get to come here for funsies?
Literally in there playing around. I
I
get
re-
to walk around to the other classes, take pictures, and what's crazy about my school, I went through a K through 12. So
mm.
I would be like, I had siblings that were younger than me, so it would be cool. I walk around with my camera. It was pretty cool.
Like I
Yearbook was
said, yearbook is different. Like if y'all know, if you're not a yearbookie, you don't get it. But
yeah,
like it's
exactly. Yearbook
like
was a different time.
it's different. Like you get like because like our school, it was like regular 9 through 12,
Mhm,
but it was big but small.
mhm.
So like even though we would like, I think that was half the reason why we never did our work until it was like actually necessary, because we knew like, okay, let me text Billy Bob and like he's gonna give me this quote. Let me
Yeah,
text Sarah and she's gonna give me this picture. Like you don't necessarily have to actively do the work because it's gonna figure itself out.
yeah, definitely.
Over here, we do this thing where I say a word or a phrase, and you tell us the first thing that comes to your mind. So,
Okay,
your first word is basketball.
scoring.
I mean, you did have like a pretty major game, so that's not too bad.
Winning,
I
like
mean, because I'm pretty sure someone asked that same question to Rudy Gobert, who would be like setting screens.
exactly.
So, your next word is Jaguars.
Jacksonville. That's my favorite animal. You know what's crazy? I'm a Saints fan though, but Jaguars. I think of Jacksonville. Duval every time.
I mean, you're a Saints fan, so what's your favorite thing going to be? Like that random symbol? Like that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense.
I don't know. I love the Saints. Like that's my team.
They're going through it now, but
They are, but I'm not a bandwagon. I'm a loyal fan, and that is exactly why I don't have a favorite NBA team. I don't have a favorite WNBA team because I'm one of those loyal fans. Like I have players, but the
oh
Saints,
yes,
that's my
over here
team.
too.
Riding out. I'm riding out with the Saints.
Like I have my players here and there. Like I used to be a Panthers fan, but they lost their mind, and I was like, I can never be loyal again. I belong to the streets. I belong to
Literally,
whoever I belong to that day.
thank you. I can't.
Because I can't. I don't think I could look myself in the mirror if I was a bandwagon fan. Like I don't.
A joke. How can you?
I don't think I could do that. And your last one is PK Young High School.
Family.
Well, thank you so much for being up here. Let everyone know where they can find you on the internet.
On Instagram, it is Kayla Mali, KAILYAMALI. Facebook, Kyla Jackson, and Twitter, also Kyla Mali. I keep it pretty simple. So follow me, write me anything, like even if you need advice, high schoolers, anybody like going through the entering the transfer portal as much as I did, like I got you. Like we could definitely chop it up. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Ashleigh. This was great.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. Be safe, have fun, and don't be afraid to join the convo.